Brother, it's been a minute, and I think this is a good time to kind of take a beat and reintroduce ourselves because we've been kind of silent due to some family obligations and the holidays and unfortunately equipment malfunction, audio gets corrupted, podcast. But I've noticed just looking at our analytics that even though we haven't posted in about 2 months, like we've gotten a couple more followers here, and I felt like it was a good time to like put us back out there. It's a new year. We kind of want to tell the people what we're about. So, for those of you who don't know us, I'm Matt. I'm 29. I'm on track to be graduating as a high school history teacher here in December. I'm super stoked about it. I primarily love the American Civil War. That is what I love to go down rabbit holes on, and the influence that the American Civil War kind of had on not only America but on the war itself, or on the world itself. Excuse me. I have a passion for history. I think it's super cool to just see themes arise time and time again. It doesn't matter what language we speak, what religion we practice, and any of that. History is what combines us all as human beings. And I want to find a fun, cool way to like bring that to the people. So that's
Yeah,
who I am. That's what I'm
so
about.
you're not wrong, Matt. So I'm DJ. I am also a Marine Corps veteran, recently retired, trying to find his purpose in life
Oh
beyond
yeah, I
retirement
forgot.
from the Marine Corps.
I'm a Marine Corps veteran too, by the way.
Yeah, that you are. That you are. We actually found ourselves in the same command there for a little bit, and there was a love for one another from Jump Street, and we kind of continued that beyond our Marine Corps careers.
It's because
Both of
the
us.
Blues won the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, it was because the Blues won the Stanley Cup. But with that being said, I am also a historian. I am a recipient of my bachelor's in the arts of American history, with kind of a focus on American history, but also the humanities that surround history as a whole, right? So it's not just American history, it's all the things that kind of devolved and created what we know now as America. As we know, it's a salad, it's a combination of all cultures, things like that. Everybody within the American culture is what makes the American culture work.
Hmm.
But with that being said, we have already done several podcasts. We've done podcasts on the diplomatic situation surrounding the dropping of the atomic bomb. We've done a podcast on Alexander Hamilton. We've done a podcast on the Salem witch trials. We did lose one audio in between, and that kind of hints to Matt's gap that he talked about in the first
Hmm.
place. But we are now starting to record podcast on Napoleon. And what comes up next is for those of you that continue to listen to our podcast, super excited to get ourselves out there to continue to talk about history. We do this within an inebriated state. We're kind of
Oh no,
inebriated while recording this commercial.
it's
Matt's
empty.
Scott dry. I'm not dry. I've still got some Heaven's Hill to drink. That was a pause for a sip. With that being said, no good historian does anything with history sober. So this is a glass of history podcast. We do this while drinking, and any special guest that we bring on to this podcast also does that while drinking.
Except for
Um,
Sammy, apparently.
Now, Sammy drank during it. She did drink. She
Dr.
drank.
Pepper, dude. Or no,
Nah,
it was Mountain Dew.
she drank one Mountain Dew. She did drink Smirnoff Red, White, and Blue during her podcast. But this is just kind of our plug to get ourselves out there. We are Matt and DJ.
Yep.
Um, and just kind of letting everybody know, hey, this is what we do as far as a Glass of History podcast. We've got some great reviews, some great listeners up to this point. We want to
It's,
continue to grow our audience and just kind of let everybody know, hey, this is what's to come.
yeah, and you guys give us feedback, and we both really appreciate it. So moving forward, and you're going to hear us mention this as we go through the Napoleon podcast, that we're going to be recording them in sections. We might record them tonight. We did the first two episodes on Napoleon, and we're going to break them up into smaller, more digestible segments, because that was one of the key feedback points that we got, was that hey, we love it, but it's hard to keep on top of a 3-hour podcast once a month. And so like we're gonna break it down into hour, maybe 90 minute, depending on how we're feeling. Sections to release, every week or every other week. We're gonna see how this works out, but give you guys more digestible content to work with instead of just hitting you right in the face with all this information.
Yeah.
Um, and I know DJ and his lovely wife Sammy, they do a lot on our Facebook page. You guys can find us over on Facebook. I just started up our Instagram page. Just type in A Glass of History podcast, and you'll find we have the same image for all of our socials, including the podcast itself. And on each of those pages, you can find out we're on Spotify primarily, Apple, and eventually we'll be on Amazon Music, and also on YouTube.
Yep.
So,
And with that being said, Matt, I would like to say that when we post this video to any of those platforms, we will also have a link to our YouTube, to our Apple, and to our Spotify,
yep,
so that anybody that is interested in diving into, hopefully while with a drink in hand, I would encourage you to have a drink in hand.
it's so much
Um,
better that way. You don't feel left
it,
out.
yeah, it is. Be a part of the group, all right?
Yep.
But with that being said, I'm not promoting drinking. I'm promoting history at this point. But with that being said, we will put all that into the comments of this post on every social media that we do. And we hope to hear from more of you. If you guys have feedback, things like that, please let us know. I know
Yeah.
that you guys have been chomping at the bit for us to put another episode out. I do apologize. The holidays are a little bit rougher to put a podcast out. We have
Mhm.
family, we have veterans
and
that
and
I
you know
bring
we
into the
we
house.
I want to just say me and you we're both family men. You know,
Yep.
we prioritize our families over everything. My daughter's everything. Your kids are everything to you, and I know that we've been around each other long enough at this point. So for those of you who are kind of, why don't they post more? Well, priorities. I like to prioritize my family and making sure that everything's settled in my home before I dive in on some Napoleon, right?
Yeah, so that's mainly for the day one guys, right? Day one's guys and gals
Yep.
who started from Jump Street. Um, for those of you that are now tuning into us now, hopefully at the inception of this kind of advertisement or promotion of our podcast, for any new listeners that we have, um, you're really kind of at the tail end of us figuring out how to do the podcast.
Yep.
So you're going to get an episode more often than what our day oneers got.
And higher quality too. I think we're slowly working out those bugs. It is a process, and I appreciate all of you for bearing with me. This has been a big learning curve for me.
Yeah, 100%. But what I will say is that for all of you that have been listening from day one, for all of you that listen in the future, a glass of history, myself, Matt, we appreciate you guys. We are still open, like we have said from the very beginning. We are open to guests, and we will talk about any topic that you want to talk about. But from a glass of history, from Matt, from myself, I appreciate each and every last one of you, and thank you for tuning in.